Hello everyone, so I'm here today to give you a review of The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. And if you can't tell from the smile on my face, I did actually really enjoy this book. The heart of the story in The Coldest Girl in Coldtown revolves around a girl named Tana. Tana? I called her Tana in my head, so we'll just stick with that. When the story opens, Tana is trying to rescue two people from a house that she woke up in. She went to a party one night because she's in high school and they kind of do that sometimes. Woke up the next day and everybody in the house was dead, and she knew immediately that something terrible had happened and that somehow she was the only one that survived. But instead of just escaping, she decided to double check that she was the only one that really was alive, and she found her old boyfriend actually tied up. And so she saves him and the other guy that happens to be in the room, and they escape in her car. When her ex-boyfriend Aiden was tied up on the bed, she knew for sure that he had been bitten and was in the process of possibly being turned. And so she knows the only safe place for them to go is Coldtown. She knows that she has to get Aiden there before he infects other people or before he fully turns. Because he's kind of set on turning as opposed to letting the virus run its course through his body. And that is about all that I'm going to tell you plot-wise, even though it gets really kind of awesome from there. I really want to talk about two things in the book that completely surprised me and drew me in. They were very literally the reason why I kept reading even whenever the plot was getting a little bit predictable for my tastes in the setup. So the first thing that I really liked about The Coldest Girl in Coldtown is the way that Holly Black handles vampires. There's been a lot of literature about vampires, and you can tell that this is definitely writing a love letter to the best of them. So Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles, you've got a little bit of that in there with the kind of old world version of vampires turning versus the new world version and how those two worlds are clashing. It was really fascinating when Anne Rice did it, and it's really fascinating when Holly Black does it too, especially because she can mess with the way that we broadcast things on the internet all the time, like I'm doing now. Hi guys. She really takes the way that people can create their own content and she weaves it directly into her narrative whenever it comes to the vampires. But there's very definitely an idea that once you get inside of Coldtown, getting out almost never happens. It's kind of like being in a prison, which is a definite metaphor for the way that Holly Black is treating vampires. Like, once you're in, you can't get back out. And that's very true of most vampire lore. I can't really think of any in which they can get back out again, but it's interesting to see the way that she treats it. It's very much a virus, kind of like some zombie literature treats that as a virus. And so you do get bitten, and that's how you get it, but it can course through your body in like 83 days if you have the strength to resist feeding. So the second thing that I want to talk about whenever it comes to The Coldest Girl in Coldtown is the structure of the book. It was kind of brilliant. It went from one chapter to the next in the present for one chapter, and the next chapter it would be in the past. And the past chapters had a lot of leeway. Sometimes they would be in Tana's point of view, sometimes they would be in other characters' point of view, like the third person that she saved at the party. His name is Gabriel. And it was completely fascinating the way that she weaved all these things together. It was really a way to see the characters present in a more fully developed way without having to play too much on the idea of a flashback in the middle of a scene. I thought she handled it very well, and it did enhance my reading of the book, so kudos on the structure, Holly Black. All in all, I would say The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black definitely earns probably 4.5 stars, if not just 4. I did really like it. It's just very hard for me to fall in love with a vampire fiction, so I really, really enjoyed it. Probably more than I've enjoyed any vampire fiction since I was in high school, so that's high marks. And it was just dark enough, and it dealt with enough of the themes that I felt it needed to, and it dealt with even more that I didn't know it was going to. So, kind of awesome. So for my Friday reads, I'm actually going to be trying to catch up with the Nerdfighter Book Club, and I will definitely leave a link to a video in the description if you don't know what I'm talking about, because Nerdfighters are awesome, and the book we're reading is actually nonfiction, so I'm pretty stoked. So I will see you next week, hopefully with 2 videos. Le gasp. We'll see how much I accomplish. But until then, I hope you have a really great weekend. Bye!